Right, professional now, all right?
Right, yeah, professional. Hi, I'm Gina. I'm here with Jojo Macari, who stars in The Irregulars, and these are his Netflix 9. Jojo, how you doing? This is our second time meeting. I met you the first time, and you were really great, and I'm really excited to see you again. How's life been? How's lockdown been? What's going on?
It's been good. It's been good. I couldn't cook when we last met, and that's been my big task. Is like learn how to cook. And we're getting there. Before it was really bad. Really bad.
So what are you cooking now? What's going on?
I've been making some pizzas. I've been making a lot of I've got some Italian heritage somewhere down the line.
Okay.
And I'm bringing it in. I'm making pizza now. If anyone wants a pizza, come to my house. I thought I'd get like a system where I could like slide them out of the window and like sort of slide onto the people in the street, giving back to the people.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Your good deed of the year is just you sliding pizzas out the window.
Yeah,
lovely.
Out my window in the rain.
Okay, so you star in The Irregulars as Billy. Tell us, firstly, for anyone who doesn't know, a quick synopsis, which I'm sure you must be a pro at now, of The Irregulars, and what you're most excited for people to see when they watch the show.
The Irregulars is a show about a gang of street kids. We meet this sinister character, Dr. Watson, who brings us into this very dark underbelly of Victorian London. We end up sort of fighting and solving crime. What I'm most excited for people to see, the scary stuff. I mean, the thing that we're bringing into it that's different from a show set in the Sherlock Holmes universe that you would have seen before is this supernatural element. And some of that can get pretty freaky. It's pretty freaky sometimes. I'm excited for people to get scared.
Yeah, I was really scared. I mean, it doesn't take a lot to scare me. It really doesn't take a lot to scare me. But I was petrified in the first episode. I was like, this is so dark. I really liked it. Really, really liked it. Do you have a favourite scene or a scene that you're particularly proud of, or when you watch you're like, oh my God, yeah, that was great?
Yeah, I was on fire that day.
And out of 10 the whole time.
We've worked on some amazing sets, and I think that my favourite days were definitely the sort of big group days where we were there as a full gang. So like stuff that springs to mind would be like in episode 1 when we're doing stuff in the aviary, the end of episode 1. That was pretty crazy because it was an amazing set, and all of us were there running around being attacked by birds, which is always fun. We shot a scene in, again, this sort of weird Victorian greenhouse that had this roof made of tarpaulin. Halfway through the day, starts raining really heavily. And then about halfway through it, the roof caves in.
Oh my
and
God.
The whole room sort of gets filled with water. We were sort of like, right, don't worry about it. We'll just keep on going.
You're like drowning. You're like, keep filming.
Sitting there like warming up afterwards, having a hot cup of coffee, sat next to a literal zombie. It's pretty crazy day. That was fun.
So having met you all that are on the cast, you seem to get on really, really well. I can imagine that it was probably tough filming and having a show come out during COVID and all these things. But what was it like filming with them and getting to know your cast members?
So, right, first thing that happens, first time we all meet is the read-through. I rock up, I'm like, I don't know, I was on the tube, I had like a guitar on my back, like 4 different bags, like running through London, like, oh my God, I'm going to be late. I get in there by the skin of my teeth into the read-through, sit down next to Harrison. It's the first time I've ever met Harrison. I was there sweaty, pretty unprepared, not a great vibe. And I turn around and Harrison's there with like this folder with like this script like perfectly printed out and like all these different colored like highlighters arranged next to it. And I turned to him and just went, hey, take a look at this nerd. And he really held that against me for a long time.
One way to make friends, one way. When we chatted to you a couple months ago, you mentioned that you'd originally thought that you would go for the role of Spike. What drew you to Spike? And then tell us a little bit more about the character that you're actually playing, B.
Billy never smiles. Billy's very grumpy. And that's not really my vibe at most of the time in real life. Like I'm sort of walking around like, well, hey, everything's fantastic. This is great. I'm living the dream. And I saw Spike and I was like, oh, wow, this guy's living the dream. Then I started auditioning for Billy and realized that actually he's not just this grumpy dude sat at the back. He's actually got like an incredible amount of emotional depth and like a lot of sort of trauma that's like bubbling underneath the surface level of his character. And that, for me, is what made Billy super fascinating. As soon as you start tapping into that stuff that's just sort of underneath his surface, like, whoa, I don't like anyone. What's going on underneath that with Billy's character, I think is fascinating. And he's like super, super well written by Tom, and I love playing him.
All right, so moving on to slightly more tangential questions.
Okay.
You pop it up in a bunch of different titles in Netflix, right?
Yeah.
So you, for example, you play Kyle in Sex Education, which is a slightly different character to Billy. So I think it's worth asking, if you could choose any other TV show to star in, which would it be? You can choose any.
I love a lot of the animated stuff that Netflix are doing, and it's like a big bucket list thing for me at the moment to voice a character. I would love to do that.
You'd be so good at that. You'd be
I would
really good
love
at
to do that. So like, I love Big Mouth. I think it's an incredible show. I'd love to get stuck in with that. I think all of their characters are so well written, and like in that show, it's like every single one of them. It's like, oh God. I something like that happened to me, and that just really scares me.
Yeah.
If they need me, I'm available. Get me in, guys. I can do it from. I think this sounds pretty good. I'll do it from in here on the airport. You know what I
Yeah. Nick Kroll, come on, mate. Here you
Come
go.
on, buddy.
Ready for the taking. Since the show is called The Irregulars, what is the most irregular thing about you? What's your most irregular habit?
I'm trying to think if I have anything really strange I do. Actually, this is a good one. When I go to casting, I like to, run my lines while I'm doing my castings. But that's kind of weird to do, like on the streets of London. So what I do is I pretend to be on the phone. So I'll be walking around the streets of London and be like, "Listen, Spike, okay? Don't know what it was like in the workhouse, yeah?" Maybe that's an unusual one. That's an unusual acting habit. I'll give you that.
That's a good one. That is a good one. So, speaking of you making me laugh, I think you are very, 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 very funny. Like one of the fun. Genuinely, when I met you last, my stomach was hurting.
I'm a bit hyper, I think. That's part of the issue. Got a bit overexcited.
Obviously, you've done sort of comedy work in your role in Sex Education. You've done a wide range of stuff. Do you have a preference for comedy since you're so good at it?
I love doing comedy roles. I love it. And like, it's so much fun just to play around with.
Is there any type of acting or any type of role that you haven't tried yet that you would like to try in the future?
I have a lot of bucket list things, Western. I'd love to play a cowboy. If you can do that in a way that's like still kind of like okay to do and not too offensive, I'd love to play a cowboy. Space, take me to space. I'd look good in space, I reckon. I'd look great in Zero Gravity. Okay, first we'll do Big Mouth, right?
Yeah.
Then we'll do Woke Cowboy, and then in space, and then pop star. I guess I'd love to play a pop star. I would love to play a pop star. I think that'd be fantastic. It'd be so much fun.
I'll ask you a question about a picture I saw on your Instagram, though. I'm going to hope that you know what I'm talking about just by me describing it.
Probably. I mean, I'm pretty self-obsessed. I'm on there all the time.
All right. You are standing in front of a musical instrument store called Macari's. Can you explain that picture?
That's my dad's shop. It was my granddad's shop before my dad, and then my great-granddad had a shop before him. And I worked in Macari's for years and years and years. There's a street called Denmark Street in London, which is sort of a famous musical street. My granddad opened the first music shop there on Denmark Street. And then that street then became all music shops and became an incredibly important point, like globally for music. It was sort of the epicenter of like the 1960s beat boom, and then has maintained that sort of prowess until now, when they decided to put in Crossrail and closed all the shops, and now they've all gone. So sadly, that picture is my dad's shop closing, and that was the last time we were there, which was very sad. But don't worry, because he's still going. He's opened another little shop down in Brighton.
Okay.
And he's still living the dream. He's still living the dream.
Love that. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to have brought that up. I thought that was going to be a really chill, nice memory. And you're like, yeah, my dad's shop got closed. All right. And if you were making your own gang of misfits that are called the Irregulars, they happen to be called the Irregulars, you can include in it anyone, celebrity or not. Who are you putting in your own gang? You've got yourself in it, 4 people left.
We need someone to do the outfits. That's the first thing, right? Okay, if I was actually running the Irregulars, I personally think that we should all have matching uniforms. So we're going to need someone in fashion on board. We'll get Louis Vuitton. Louis in there sewing at the back to get some incredible like neon one pieces.
Nice.
Then we're going to need a great mind, like a real good thinker. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm definitely going to be the weak link. So I'm trying to think of someone smart in a TV show that I've watched. We're going to go for Bill Murray. I feel like he's a man who knows what he's doing. Okay. Well, I guess my mum. I'm a grown man at this point in my life. I think I am anyway. And yet still virtually every day I'm ringing my mum and being like, how do I do this? What does that mean? And what's the proper way to reply to an email? So we're going to need my mum to like sort of basically show me the difference between right and wrong. I'm going to need someone to soundtrack the whole experience. Like a sort of a jester type character who's going to come along with this and sort of, I don't know, on the lute in the background. So we're there in the neon jumpsuit.
Right.
And then we're going to have Madonna. I'll tell you why. Not only is she, I assume, really, really good on the lute, and a fantastic singer, famous, very good for distraction. Everyone, there's a big crowd of rabble on the streets of Victorian London. Madonna comes out, starts singing like a virgin, and everyone's the attention's instantly over there. So I guess that's it. That's the crew. Me, my mum, Bill Murray, Louis Vuitton, and Madonna.
Fantastic. I'd watch that. I wish that we had 12 years to actually that would be awful for you.
Too long.
It was lovely speaking to you. The Irregulars is fantastic. I'm very, very excited for people to see it. But until then, Jojo Makari, these were your Netflix 9.
Thank you very much for having me.